They say some places never lose their chill, no matter how many people show up with flowers or flags. That's how it felt that November morning at Arlington, when the mist curled between the headstones and the sun barely bothered with the sky. There's a heaviness there you can't shake off, not even if you wanted to. I remember thinking, you ever stand somewhere and just know every step you take means something? That's where this starts. Sergeant Lucas Hayes, that's me, and yeah, the boots were shined, so bright you could see your regrets in them. We're trained to be perfect. 21 steps, pause, turn, 21 again. People whisper like you can't hear, calling us statues, sentinels. They don't see what's swirling under the brim of a tomb guard's hat. But I carried a rock with me 4 years ago, dust in my teeth, and an explosion that took my squad leader, Marcus Cole, and left his words in my head. Keep them alive, Hayes. That's the job. Funny thing, grief is heavy but invisible. Every step at the tomb of the unknown soldier was for guys like Cole, for all the names that never made a home or got buried by history. And there's always a crowd. School kids bored out of their minds, parents trying to look solemn, a few vets you recognize by the way they stand just a little too straight, like the discipline never quite faded. That's when I spotted him. Old guy at the rope, denim jacket, 1st Infantry patch, cane wobbling as he leaned in. You could tell he wasn't really seeing the marble or the tourists. He was somewhere back in the jungle, eyes searching for something only he could find. Daniel Sullivan. Folks called him Danny. And from the moment I locked eyes with him, something told me his visit wasn't just another box to check. Here's the thing, most people have no idea what it's like to come back from war and find your country wants to forget you ever left. Danny wore his Bronze Star on his sleeve that day, but I'd bet money it spent most of its life hidden in a drawer. His friend, Tommy Kidd, didn't make it home from Vietnam, but his story did. Danny promised Tommy's mom he'd bring that medal to the tomb someday, to let the unknowns know they weren't alone. You ever see a moment stretch out and threaten to snap? Danny tried to steady himself, medal clutched tight, but his cane slipped and the Bronze Star skittered across the plaza clink, clink, resting just beyond the velvet rope. For a second, nobody breathed. Then some punk in a hoodie laughed. Old man dropped his shiny badge. I could feel my jaw tighten. Another kid muttered, "Bet it's fake." A woman shushed them, but nobody moved to help. Protocol says tomb guards don't break formation, don't flinch, don't speak. We're ritual, not people. But all I could hear was Cole's voice from Iraq. Don't let them fade, Hayes. Not one. The old man bent to reach for the medal, knees shaking. The teenager laughed louder, cruel. It was like watching someone trample a grave. My mind flashed back to that night in Iraq, the one where I dragged a wounded private out of a burning Humvee, catching hell for it later, but knowing I'd do it again. Some rules need breaking. I reached 21 steps, turned, and instead of freezing, I stepped off the mat. One step, then another, the crowd's gasp sharp as broken glass. I crossed the rope, every movement deliberate. Knelt, picked up the medal, wiped the dust off, and walked it back to Danny. "This belongs with you, Sergeant," I told him, voice low enough only he could hear. It's his courage, not just metal. His hands shook as he took it, eyes shining, and for a second he looked 20 again. "That's Tommy's," he said, voice raw. "He earned it saving lives at Key San." I thought I'd lost him again. I met his gaze, steady. "He's not lost, sir. None of them are." I went back to my post, heart pounding. The crowd was silent. Then someone started clapping, soft at first, then stronger. A young woman, college kid, phone shaking in her hand, posted a video with the caption, "This is what America means." The thing went viral before I'd even left the plaza. Of course, there are always two sides. Captain Vance, my CO, saw the whole thing. He wrote me up on the spot violation of protocol, recommend disciplinary action. He's old school, Desert Storm vet, believes the tomb's ritual is sacred and unbreakable. But by lunch, the internet was ablaze. Veterans posting their own medals, kids from all over saying that guard honored not just the unknown, but every vet who ever got laughed at or forgotten. That night in the barracks, I stare at Cole's photo, wondering if I'd thrown it all away. Private Jenny Torres, fellow guard, came in and said, "You knew you'd catch trouble, didn't you?" I just nodded. Saw his face. That medal was his friend's life. Couldn't let it lie there. She grinned. Vance is livid. Might bench you for good. I shrugged, almost a smile. Worth it. We almost let it slip away. In a run-down motel, Danny stared at the Bronze Star, tears rolling down his cheeks, the TV blaring my act on the news. His friend Tommy's face grinned from an old, faded photo. You made it to the tomb, Tommy, he whispered. Someone saw you. Someone cared. His private pilgrimage, meant to be between him and his ghosts, was now all over the country. Next day, I faced the board. Vance looked granite, voice sharp. You violated the tomb's sanctity. Explain yourself. I stood tall. That Bronze Star wasn't just a piece of metal. It's a promise kept in blood. No one else moved. I couldn't let it be mocked. The room was silent, then a retired colonel, chest full of medals, recommended a week's suspension and a public apology. I told them, I won't regret it. Not now, not ever. Meanwhile, Danny was at the VFW, showing the Bronze Star to a room full of vets from every war. This ain't just metal, he told them, voice steady. That guard, Lucas, didn't just pick it up. He picked me up. Don't punish him. Give him a medal. The room erupted in cheers, fists pounding the tables. Videos hit every news feed, hashtags trending, petitions pouring in to commend me, not punish me. Even Congress took notice, a senator saying in a speech, if we punish compassion, we dishonor the soldiers we serve. Captain Vance, watching it all unfold, wasn't immune to the pressure. He watched that video of me handing back the medal over and over. Finally, he typed, recommend commendation for exceptional judgment under unique circumstances. 10 days later, under a cloudless sky, a ceremony unfolded at the tomb. I got to pin a silver star of civilian honor on Danny's jacket. He clutched Tommy's Bronze Star to his heart, tears bright in the morning sun. For Tommy, he whispered. I knelt, laid a white rose at the tomb, and said, for all of them. The crowd stood, silent, hands over hearts. Even the old punks wiped a tear. Mia, the college kid, put her phone away and just watched. That night, in his motel, Danny hung Tommy's star beside his own, the medals glinting like little anchors in the dim light. He wrote me a letter he never sent. You gave an old man his friend back. You gave America its soul. Don't stop. I sat in my apartment, Cole's dog tag in my hand, thinking about the weight of all this light as a rose, heavy as memory. But I knew I'd carry it every day. 4 months later, a Vietnam vet from California posted my photo at the tomb, silhouette sharp against marble. Caption, he moved for one of us. That's enough. When Danny passed that spring, Bronze Star in hand, I went to his funeral in dress blues, stood in silence as taps played. Didn't speak, didn't need to. My presence was my vow. Weeks later, a kid at Arlington tugged his mother's sleeve. Why is he so still? She knelt, voice soft. Because he only moves when it matters, sweetheart. And when he does, the whole world notices. I marched on, 21 steps, guarding the past, watching over the future. Because that's what a promise is, something you carry long after the world stops watching. So what do you think, honestly? Did I do the right thing, breaking the rules for something bigger? Where's the line between tradition and compassion, between duty and doing what's right? Share your thoughts below. Who gets to decide when the rules need to bend? And what would you have done if you stood in my boots that day?